What if we were to reimagine the things and the people that we love to hate? Liberals, conservatives, Monsanto, Chevron, rich people, poor people. What if I told you that if you could get beyond heroes and villains, right and wrong, success and failure, an entirely different reality could open up for you? I work with leaders all over the world that are engaging a period of transition in their leadership and in their organization. They're asking deep, penetrating questions, and they're seeking to transform their leadership and the world around them. My job is to help them get from where they are to where they want to be, from where their companies are to where they could be. And right out of the gate, I lay out a very simple proposition. The change, the transformation, the innovation that you seek has very little to do with shifting the external world. So you can imagine their surprise when I tell them that the work will not begin with their companies, with their abstract systems, with their culture. The work begins with them, their person. Change, transformation, innovation are personal. And to be clear, the work will not be soft, and it will not be touchy-feely. It will not be anchored in the latest leadership research or the findings of neuroscience. It will be direct, it will be challenging, and it will be deceptively simple. If you want to shift and disrupt the external world, you begin by disrupting the internal world. We tell them that with discipline and with sustained perception, they can begin to uproot the core beliefs, the core values, the core truths that they are protecting. And in that way, create a clearing out of which an entirely different field of possibilities may emerge. I call this process a reverse process. The seeds for this insight began for me when I was 20 and I was living in Nepal. I came to Nepal as a climber for the big mountains and also to find the masters that lived there. 3 months into my stay, I was urged to go find an elusive monk. And after a successful trip to the Himalaya, and I was feeling confident, I dropped down out of the mountains, wove my way through Kathmandu, and I found him. And when I found him, I told him that I wanted him to teach me about magic and about wisdom. And he looked at me, and he laughed. And he just started to mess with me. He said, "Why did you bother to learn Nepali? Why aren't you wearing one of those Nepali hats and the skirts that the men wear here? Why did you come to me wearing a dirty t-shirt and carrying a big old climbing pack? Why are you alone? Why aren't you with a Western group?" And after about 30 minutes of this, he turned to me and he said, "Look, I'm not going to teach you anything about what you want. I will teach you two things: emptiness and power, emptiness and power." Intrigued, I studied with him and I trained with him. And he taught me a very basic truth. What most people take to be power is actually the illusion of power. Our truths, our certainties, our assumptions, under close scrutiny, they collapse. And this collapse comes with it a deep feeling of isolation and estrangement. That's what happened to me. And that estrangement and that isolation, it stuck with me long after I left Nepal. I found solace and validation, however, in the wisdom traditions, because there I found over and over again a basic teaching. The clarity of vision and power almost always emerge in a landscape marked by uncertainty and the unknown. This place of exile, where everything goes upside down, the known becomes the unknown, is the gateway to wisdom. So I want to share with you the story of Arjuna from the Bhagavad Gita of the Mahabharata, one of the most beloved stories in all of India. Now, Arjuna was a badass warrior, one of the best in all the lands. And the story begins with Arjuna in full array in the center of the battlefield. On both sides are pitched warriors, battalions, ready for an epic battle. And just when we expect Arjuna to be readying himself for victory, for honor, and for acclaim, something very surprising happens. Our hero, our warrior hero, Arjuna, is suddenly overcome by confusion, by doubt, by uncertainty, so strong that he is rendered impotent. And he collapses into his chariot in a form of frozen immobility, in a pile of shame and despair. And he goes silent. And in the next instant, suddenly something happens just as surprising. Suddenly, his charioteer becomes Krishna, becomes the Lord. And thus begins a dialogue between the Lord and Arjuna, in which the Lord passes on to Arjuna all the wisdom of the cosmos. Right action, right thought, right discipline, right practice. The story shows us a very special relationship between wisdom and the experience of collapse and despair, and that negative emotions that we typically work extremely hard to avoid are in fact the gateway to true wisdom. It is extremely seductive to focus all our efforts for change on the external world and leaving our personal work, well, personal. And it is more seductive still when we do focus on our personal evolution and our personal work to create a practice designed to get us out of our negative emotions. What I have found is that the way to get to wisdom is by developing a partnership. By developing a partnership with the experience of estrangement, of despair, and uncertainty. That the way and the path to leadership power must cross through thresholds at times terrifying. That's what Arjuna teaches us. Back in the 1990s, when I was working with gangsters and high-risk young people, training them to transition from the illusion of power to power, a native elder that we were working with gave me these lines. In a time of uncertainty, there is no greater certainty, no greater possibility than with the arrival of an invincible hero. And on this night, the hero is dead. In a time of uncertainty, there is no greater certainty, no greater possibility than with the arrival of an invincible hero. And on this night, your hero is dead. Everybody wants solutions. They want somebody to sweep in and solve their problems and save the day. That's what everybody wants. In these times of unmatched complexity and uncertainty, there are no solutions. The hero is dead. Just sitting with that, the hero is dead. That is the paradox I have been pursuing ever since I dropped down out of the Himal years ago. And it is the same paradox we ask our clients to pursue. What we know is that disruption is an internal art. Leadership goes beyond problems and solutions. And in that place of emptiness is the power that we need to create breakthrough change. Thank you.